diving deep into how moments that almost break us can actually awaken us and how we can rebuild a life rooted in meaning after touching the age of existence. Michael, once more, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's amazing. I love what you're doing. It was in the year 2005, a very long time ago. And during this time, I was in high school. And during the time in high school, I was going through various depressions with family, like the stresses that you go through during the teenage age. And that led to me being very suicidal at my age. And that led to me actually getting into a car accident and ending up in a coma. So, um, long story short, with the coma, I had a grand mal seizure and I had to be medically induced. I coded 3 times within this coma. Now, what I did have was a near-death experience. The reason why I know that is because when I was in the medical room, I saw my body, out of the bed. I looked at myself on the bed and I said, "Whoa, okay, this is not normal. Is this the drugs or something, or what's going on?" And the strange thing is that I was fully aware of my thoughts. So that's why I thought maybe this is something that the doctors did. But lo and behold, it actually wasn't, because I could also feel the walls of the hospital room. So there was a tunnel of light that zoomed me up. I went to this dark area. I know people say tunnels of light and all that, but I actually accidentally jumped out the tunnel of light. And I went into this purgatory place. I'm not sure what it was, but there was a lot of pain there. And I know I had to really focus on positive thoughts to get to heaven. So I transported over to heaven. And there, that's when I met a lot of angels, and they were giving me advice on how to, and this is going to sound strange, but how to heal myself, because they dissected how depressed I was and the things that were bothering me, like family, and they were showing me the future about how these things would not affect me. So I went through that process. They also told me that water retains memory. And this is back in 2005, where these studies weren't really popular. So that's something I really remembered. Then I went to a section where I met God, and we had a personal conversation about love, and God told me I have the choice to come back. So I came back, and once I shot, I'm just giving you a quick version because the allotted time,
Mhm.
I don't want to, but when I came down, there was an interesting message that I got, because remember, I had a traumatic brain injury from the situation, the car accident. So when I'm in the hospital bed, one of the first things I hear is one of the angelic voices. Now, how I can defer the difference between a human voice and one of their voices is it sounds more of like a symphony of sort. It sounds, you feel it more on an emotional level. And this angel told me to eat blueberries to repair my brain. And at the time, and this is 2005, where I don't know about this stuff at all. And I start taking certain medications, and I noticed the medication started making me even more depressed. A couple of months after I was out of the coma, but I reverted back to what I was told about blueberries, and I started eating a pack of blueberries a day. Mind you, in this situation, I wasn't really fully functional. I wasn't able to read, write. I couldn't really walk. I was really sensitive to sunlight, everything. I started eating 1 pack of blueberry every day and drinking lots of water. And next thing I know, my memory comes back, and the doctors classify it as a miracle. And I'm like, wow, and I learned that from heaven. And that's just really wild to me.
Mhm. That's like fantastic insights to kick things off. But before we dive deeper, I'll properly introduce to you to our listeners. So, Michael, welcome back to Soul Sparks with your host
Thank you.
Saima, where today we'll explore one of the most profound intersections of life and death. My guest, Michael Henderson, has faced the unimaginable, a near death experience that altered the very way he sees life, purpose, and the journey forward, as we have heard.
And
Pleasure to have you here.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, I just want to touch a little bit more on that. How
Mm-hmm.
when I was in this heaven situation, and in my situation in this near death, it was a therapeutic experience, and the experience was about health, about healing myself. So one of the situations I went in, it was a lot of mental trauma that I went in before I had the near death experience, because I was very, very, very depressed and suicidal. So inside of this heaven experience, I remember they were showing me people that I thought I would be with, or situations that would hinder me down, blocks in my mind that I just could not work through. And they would show me how easy it is to work through. So, what I got from that message and how I apply that now to this life is that there's going to be a lot of problems, but every single problem you can always unravel. The trick is to not let these problems tear down on your physical or your soul, because then you can end up in purgatory like situations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, that completely makes sense, Michael. So now, like, I would like to ask you that coming back from such an experience, did you feel pressure to make your second chance count? And how do you balance purpose with peace?
Oh, yes. I That's a good question. That's a great question. So when I came back, I did find a heavy, heavy sense of purpose, because
Mm-hmm.
from my near death experience, I knew wholeheartedly that I met God, and I had um a full on experience. So I wanted to go down and spread that to everyone. And the one thing I noticed is that when I would talk to people about my near death experience, they were very they were not pleasant. They would demonize me or demonize my experiences, although my experiences were very holy. So it was very rough, but I was told that this would happen when I was in the coma. So I was prepared for it. But when you mix in work, regular jobs, and trying to survive, it still gets very hard to power through. So what I have as an anchor to help me keep that push to spread this message of positivity and peace and health is actually health itself. I actually have to stay healthy. So the blueberries, the juicing natural fruits, the getting the cleanest waters, all those things tie into this, staying away from PFAS, all that, because these things block up your brain. Your brain is a well organized machine created by God for you to create. So when you have things that do not coincide with that, that really blocks that. And how it's crazy how everything works, because I kept this inside me for years. And I start working in nightclubs in Las Vegas, and I meet somebody that's into water just as much as I am. And I start leaving the nightclub industry and starting a water filtration business. And so I can promote the healthy waters. So that's how I balanced it. I turned it into more of a business. I was like, how could I help these people? Like, I have this holy message, but I understand on this earth that people understand business. So how do I get into this holistic business approach? And I partnered with like-minded people. Like-minded people is a secret weapon. Like-minded people and partnerships. And that's what really, 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 really set me off.
Mm-hmm. That's such a powerful perspective, Michael. I mean, it's not easy to find that balance between purpose and inner peace. And I must say that it's something so many people wrestle with, and hearing your take is truly inspiring.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. It's the thing about it is that I'm a very regular person. All this happened in high school. I was going through the emotions of finding love and trying to impress my parents, so these are struggles that teenagers go through every day that they don't really talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things I think is important, is actually talking about mental health and mixing it in with correct, proper dieting together, because that's how you can contact God better. That's how you can listen to positive messages better. And that's how you can avoid depression in very bad situations.
So, like, I'm really eager to know this, that how did, your relationship with others change after your experience? And were people able to understand what you went through, or did it create distance?
Oh man, you know what? It
Mm-hmm.
created and at first it created a lot of distance from people because at the time this was 2005. So in my near death experience, I was told that water retains memory by an angel. There's this long story short, there's this room inside of heaven that they showed me. And this room, it has crystals, and the crystals hold information. They're like data chips. So I was curious and I just wanted to know what was in the data chips. So they were showing me the different minerals and different things and some meanings of what they are that we don't know. Like, and one of them was water, and they were explaining how water actually retains memory. So when fast forward out of my coma, when I'm telling this to the circle around me, teenage boys, teenage girls, even adults, I was highly criticized. I would try to talk to pastors, different faiths, different religions, um, Catholics, Christianity, you name it, a lot of different religions, but they would demonize it and say that I'm not supposed to receive holy messages. And I said, well, I don't know, man. That sounds kind of evil. Do you read your own book, or how does that make sense? And then that's when I really started understanding that you really can't listen to people, right? So a powerful, powerful, powerful thing is if you go through something and you wholeheartedly know it's true, you cannot listen to people because God is going to be on your side. So fast forward to all these years later on down the line, I start talking about this stuff to people at work, and there are people that are more open to it. They listen, and because my message, I'm not saying, "Hey, listen to me, follow me. This is my message." No, this is a message from God. It's literally about health. It's just that this is how I healed myself from this experience. People question if heaven exists. I went there and came back, and this is how they told me to heal myself. So
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, people are way more receptive to that because the spiritual movements that happen now. Back then, I couldn't say anything, and my father, he's also a famous musician, so he also has had a lot of out of body supernatural experiences. He even created a song called "You Are My Starship" that is about aliens from an alien experience when he met them. So this has always been within my family, but in the past we couldn't talk about it because we'd be demonized, and then that would come with loss of profits.
Yeah. I can imagine that how that might happen, because sometimes people just don't know how to respond, or they pull away because they can't fully understand what you have been through. And it's really interesting that how growth or, struggle can unintentionally create space between people.
Yes, 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 it does. It created the space, it created a bunch of different spaces because and it also made me a lot smarter with these different spaces within people because I've noticed that the distant people, I figured out ways to get to them. I figured out ways to have them listen to my story. I would tell them, "Hey, I'm going to tell you the craziest thing you ever heard. I want you to listen to it and
Mhm.
disregard it as if it was trash." You know? So I did this with a bunch of people. Like years ago. Now a lot of those people come back. "Hey man, what were you saying? What's this healthy thing that helps? What's this? What's that?" So what I've gotten is smarter in my approach on how to help people that are distant. Um, you know, coming back in my background, there's a lot of unhealthy food. So reaching out to my family and re-educating them on the proper way to eat with these messages from God, I have to be smart. I have to trick them. So then I have to learn how to cook, right? I have to learn how to cook healthy. I have to make it good. So what it is, it comes with joint effort as well, because there's going to be a lot of distance, but at the same time, you keep on creating and that distance gets smaller. And then people just start tacking on. Even the people that didn't want to, they start tacking on secretly.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense. Now, for anyone listening who feels lost or, at a breaking point, what insight from your journey you would like to share to help them move forward?
Well, considering my background, and I was highly, highly suicidal, and I did the whole nine. I'll say this: this is what I learned from heaven, and this will probably convince you not to do that. So what I learned is that there is a situation, and it's like a loop. So if you harm somebody really, really, really bad, maliciously, you'll be caught up in that loop. And within this loop, it's your soul stuck somewhere. It's usually stuck in a very painful place. You relive those memories of that person. They don't tell you how many years you're stuck in this loop. So it can be for 1 million years. It can be for 500 years. So imagine if when you kill yourself, right? So when you have that, all of the sorrow of the people that love you around you, the people that you think that don't love you, especially for people that are on drugs, that ignore people that love them, that sorrow is going to hit you for millions of years. It's worse than hell. Like what they describe in the Bible, it doesn't compare to what it actually is. What it actually is way worse. So for all the suicides and the people that are very, very, very harmful to people, you are caught in a cycle of pain, and you'll be in it for not an eternity, but for a very long time. So it's not worth it.
That's a powerful message. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing that, because there are definitely people listening who might be in that same dark place, and hearing your story might be exactly what they needed to, you know, keep going.
Yeah,
And it's like such an important reminder that things can change even when it feels impossible.
100%. And usually in the darkest times is when you get these help. In my darkest time, I was being attacked, right? I would have negative thoughts. You have to take these negative thoughts as you're being attacked to a degree, because there's a degree of, hey, I want you to learn to overcome. And there's a degree of, hey, if you're focused too much on it, then you're letting it eat you alive. You have to think of it as a parasitic creature. You have to remove it. That's how you have to think of these things. And that's the only way of your survival, because if not, then you'll get caught in the loop, and the loop is way worse than anything. So that's what you really, really want to avoid. God, another thing I learned, God doesn't kill. God only brings life. That's because I know there's certain books that says that, but in my experience, when I met God, God doesn't do that at all. And that actually really helped my depression. When I knew that, when I realized that, I was like, wow. So it's actually just the humans doing that, but God is actually keeping us alive and making sure the universe doesn't collapse on us.
Mhm.
And then
Absolutely.
it became interesting to me. I'm like, wow. So we just have to live a good life. For those that forgot, remind them.
Yes, a big yes. So, like, what small first step do you think someone in that situation could take today to like start moving in a better direction?
I would say to start moving a better direction, if you're very, 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 very depressed, like just right off the rip, I would say start by drinking lots of water and blueberries. The reason why is because depression, it is also a major form of dehydration. Depression and dehydration go hand in hand. So what you need to do is you need to drink a lot of water. If you can't get spring water, that's fine. Just start by drinking water. Then after that process, you must devour blueberries. The reason why I say this is because blueberries are one of the most beneficial things for brain health, like even through medicine. That and high dosages of vitamin C. When you do that, start praying. Even if you don't believe anything, start praying. Pray for a better outcome for yourself. Okay. That pay attention to your surroundings and just listen. This is what people call meditation, right? The reason why I say listen is because you're universal dust. No, whether you like it or not, your DNA says it. So with that being said, when you apply these methods, you're going to attract things. People call this the law of attraction. Me, I call it getting it done. I believe in certain things to a degree, but since my near death experience, it kind of morphed my sayings on things just a little bit. but you can do it. You just have to know that you can do it, and you're going to have help. And most likely it's the help that you're ignoring, because there's a lot of people on earth. Almost everybody has cell phones. I've seen people in rural countries that, live in huts and they have cell phones, so there's always help there. You have to switch your algorithm. If there's too much about war popping up, or too much about naked women popping up, or too much about negativity, you simply have to delete all those things and pop up things that will benefit you and your goals. There is a degree of selfishness in this, because when God made you, so you have to remember that. And there's a lot of you in this. You have to believe in yourself and know that you are very important.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Michael. Like, such simple yet, grounding things that are easy to overlook when you're really overwhelmed. Like, as I said, sometimes it really is the smallest action, like pausing to drink water or connecting spiritually, that starts to make the difference.
100%. And it's what I've noticed, what I like about and culture in India, I'm not sure if what part, but I know there is something where when you're young, you get to create your own God and nurture it, right? Your own helper. And I'm like, wow, that is kind of so much like in heaven, because in heaven you have these things that follow you around. In my experience, I had two uh I think they're angels. Yeah, they're angels. There was one on my right side and one on my left side the whole entire time. And they were just,
Mm-hmm.
they were guiding me the whole entire time, and they were feeding me information, and I was feeding them information. And I kind of didn't know it, but kind of did know that. And I noticed over there that that's a version of it. And I was like, wow, that is very, very advanced. And it shows a lot of spiritual maturity. And I wish a lot of other societies would apply that method in some kind of way of building up this big being within your head and using it to keep yourself morally in check.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, Michael, like, what are your daily practice that helps you stay anchored now?
Those I would say recently I really, really, really like the process of making juices. Because I know what's inside of the water, how pure the water is inside of fruit. I like how it rides through my body, and I can feel the nutrients flowing inside my body. When I drink this, I try to focus on my cells. I get into a very meditative state when I drink, and I get very thankful. And I like to process the future. That's what I love. I love psychic abilities. I like using those. So what I do is I try to stay healthy as possible, and I focus a lot of my day on focusing on future outcomes. As crazy as that sounds, but through this health, I can't help it. When I'm looking at a business, I'll come up with a crazy business idea and not know how to do it. I'll meditate on it, eat healthy. I'll come up with it and make a couple phone calls, and I'll start getting it rolling, and I'll put pieces together because I stayed healthy. Now, health and business is what's really keeping me driving and really keeping me going, especially against depression. Also, I would say mixing business with your holisticness is good, because on this plane of existence, people that are socially adept, we use money and stuff like that. So if you can apply it in a way where you're helping people and multiplying it without abusing anything, who cares when you start off? It doesn't have to be $1 million. Even if you're just making $20 a month on some whatever, just a side project, something like that, that is just very clean, very healthy, a family project. I would say that's what really keeps me going. Clean, healthy family projects.
I needed to hear this. And, you know, I mean, that's such a fun and refreshing practice, Michael. It's amazing how something as simple as making juice can become a mindful grounding ritual in the day. I really love that.
Yep. That, and oh, also I forgot to mention, I try to pray in my head at least every hour. I try to connect with God every hour or 30 minutes. Um, Ancestors that are lost, um, I talk to them. I talk to them and I wish them well. I only send well wishes. I only send well wishes. Sometimes I ask for things, but if I ask for things, it's positive things for the world or positive things for my family or stuff like that. I keep it very positive because before it was very, very, very dark um, in my suicidal situation. So I've learned not to attract the dark because the dark, it's a magnet. If you think dark, you're going to attract some dark. You know, if you think light, you're going to attract some light. And that is one of the truest statements like ever. If we ever have a new Bible or somebody writes something new, that should be one of the testaments. They'll save a lot of lives.
I can totally relate to that. I mean, like honestly, I also try to, pray in mind throughout the day. It really helps me stay centered even when things get busy or overwhelming.
Yes, yes. It's yeah. And you know, it's especially since well, out here in Las Vegas, it's very fast paced with adult industry, right? It's a lot of entertainment and a day out here feels like it's 3 hours. You know, it's just so fast. So it's important to ground yourself because you can get lost in jobs. And next thing you know, you wake up, you spent 20 years and you gave it away to somebody else's company who just fired you, you know? And then
Mm.
you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really important to have these side projects. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to water it and let it grow and pass it on. When you have your kids, pass it on to your friends, pass it on to whoever you love. And that's how you build your empires. You know, a lot of depression I notice does come from the internet because there's a lot of intimidation from empires or big governments and stuff like that. The only reason why they got big is because they pass things down. It's a simple method. Like humanity is very easy. It's just we complicate a lot of things. All you do is just pass things down and keep watering it. So if you want a big secret, create something, pass it down and water it and just have that water go for forever.
That's remarkable. Could not agree more. Michael, you reminded us that sometimes it's the moments we fear the most that offer the clearest windows into who we really are. So, listeners, life after near death isn't about chasing the perfection, it's about honoring every breath, every moment, and every connection. So, may we all carry a little more presence into tomorrow.